Hi, I'm Randy Morse of Authorcloud, and I have a couple of things to say to you, the aspiring author. I was at a reading last night. I was participating with a panel of writers, and each of us got up at our approved times, stood behind a podium, and read from a particular passage of a work that each of us had written. And I couldn't help but notice, as I sat in the audience in particular and watched my colleagues, how important rhythm is to writing. It's very difficult to keep that in mind, I find, as we're all hunched by ourselves in our darkened nooks and crannies with our glowing laptop screens in front of us, pecking away at the keyboard. But it becomes quite evident when subsequently we're asked to do something like what my colleagues and I were doing last night, that is, reading aloud from our written passages. A lack of rhythm becomes screamingly obvious in cases like that, and it makes a difference, not only in the experience of people listening to an author read from her or his work, but with the reader as well. Think about it for a moment. So one of the reasons why you might like a particular book or short story or poem is, in fact, its rhythm. There's something about the language and the usage of words and phrases that keep you engaged because, in part, they have a certain sort of rhythm. So here are a couple of tips. The first is, picking up on how I started this little diatribe in the first place, don't be afraid to, as you're working on a piece, whether it's a novel or a short story or what have you, don't be afraid to, at some point, as the work is in progress, stop and read it to someone. Read it aloud, even if it's only to yourself. As you listen to the words being spoken, I think that this whole issue of rhythm or the lack thereof will become evident and could help you improve your writing from that point on. The second thing that I would encourage you to do is think about your work as if you were writing a song. Think of it musically. That might help cement this notion of rhythm in your head. And who knows, you might end up writing a hit song on the side as well as a best-selling novel. You do never know. The final thing that I'll say, and last night's reading reminded me of this as well, is that many of us who are writers tend to be fairly insular people. You know what I mean? And sometimes that insularity, that let's say certain lack of external self-confidence shines through in our writing. I think that, to put it bluntly, sometimes some of us take ourselves and our writing a bit too seriously, both for our own good and for that of our writing. So I encourage you, as you do write, to remember that this is supposed to be fun. I know some of us feel compelled to do this. I know that after a few hours sitting in front of that screen, exhaustion can set in, both mental and physical. But at the end of the day, most of us at least are doing this because we enjoy doing it. And if we're having fun as we're doing our writing, and by fun I can mean more than simply, oh, this is a blast. I'm talking about excitement and anticipation as you begin to wonder what's next in terms of your own writing. All of that kind of enthusiasm will be conveyed into your words and through them to your reader. So, as Bobby McFerrin once put it so brilliantly, don't worry about your writing, be happy. You and your readers will be glad you did.